Hello, Big Island Rockers. My name is John, and today I'm bringing you a different kind of video. Today I'm going to review the newly released McCartney 3 album by Sir Paul McCartney. So, legendary musician Paul McCartney just released a brand new album titled McCartney 3. It's the third installment of his McCartney trilogy, and I've listened to it multiple times. I think it's really great. So I'm going to do a review of it today. I'm going to go over each of the songs, and hopefully you'll be intrigued by it and maybe listen to the album yourself if you haven't already. So if you've never heard of Paul McCartney before, Paul McCartney is widely considered to be one of the greatest musicians who ever lived. He was a former member of the band The Beatles in the 1960s, and even since then he's written many amazing songs and created many amazing albums. And I am obviously a pretty big fan of Paul McCartney and his music. And on Friday, December 18th, at 78 years old, he released another album titled McCartney 3. It's the third album in his McCartney series, basically. And it includes 11 tracks, and the entire album, apparently, all the instruments were played by Paul McCartney himself. It was produced by Paul McCartney himself. So really, it's got Paul McCartney all over it, inside and out. Hey, but before we get into it, definitely consider dropping a like on this video if you want to see more album reviews just like this one. And also consider subscribing if this is your first time on my channel. So to begin, I think I'm going to first talk about the cover of the album. So to begin, the cover probably isn't the album's strongest point. It's just a dice with 3 on it, which is creative, undoubtedly, but let's just say I don't think it's winning any awards for its album design, for its cover design, I mean. Okay, now that we've talked about the cover, let's get into the actual meat of the album, the songs. So, the first track of the album is titled Long-Tailed Winterbird, and it's basically an instrumental track. The song begins with this big, kind of really interesting acoustic guitar riff that basically continues throughout the entire song. And the riff is it's pretty astounding, I think. It's beautiful, but also haunting at the same time. It kind of seems a little bit foreign and weird, but also really just incredible to listen to. And then slowly more instruments start coming in until it becomes just this really big, almost orchestral sounding song, I think, in my opinion. It has some really great drums on it, and also it's just really interesting to hear all this was played by Paul McCartney himself, every single one of these instruments. You can even hear I think maybe even some trumpets, I think, played by Paul McCartney. So really you can just see the scope of Paul McCartney's abilities in this song. Basically, to sum it all up, it's just this weird opening song that's haunting, but also just amazing to listen to. I definitely would recommend listening to this song, if nothing else. Then you've got the second track of the album, Find My Way. This song is also really just amazing in my opinion. It has lyrics, so you can hear Paul McCartney sing, and admittedly, Paul McCartney doesn't really have the same voice as he used to. You can tell he's aged a bit since when he was in the Beatles and his other bands many years ago. But he's still an amazing singer, and you can tell that from the song. He has some parts in it where he sings some very high notes, which are also just amazing to listen to. Yeah, I really feel Find My Way could even be a Beatles song because it uses a lot of the instruments the Beatles used. Of course, guitars, bass, piano. I think it does use the harpsichord, which is, I think, an instrument that the Beatles used quite a bit. And the lyrics also are kind of reminiscent of the Beatles. They're not too complex, yet they're still pretty interesting. They're enjoyable to listen to. It's got some great instrumental sections. It's got some great drum work. Overall, it's really just an upbeat song that is also just great to listen to. I'd also definitely recommend to listen to this song, just like Long-Tailed Winterbird. If nothing else, definitely gotta listen to Find My Way. Then you've got track 3, Pretty Boys. So this is really Pretty Boys is really like a foil from the previous 2 songs. It's quieter, a lot more acoustic, not too many instruments overall. And really, Paul McCartney's voice is what is driving the whole song forward. It has some pretty interesting lyrics, I have to be honest. I have no idea what the lyrics are about, but I guess it's about Pretty Boys. I mean, not much more information than that. But still, Pretty Boys is a great song. I enjoyed it. Not as good as the two previous songs, in my opinion, but still a great song for the album. Okay, next on the album, track 4, Women and Wives. I absolutely love this song. It begins with this piano melody. It kind of sounds like the piano melody you'd even hear in a pop song. So it's really catchy, but also like really kind of deep and meaningful, kind of haunting. And then Paul McCartney's vocals, I feel like that's really the best part of this song. He sings in such like a deep voice in this song, unlike any other song on the album. It's absolutely incredible. It even sounds like a completely different singer, in my opinion. If I didn't know it was Paul McCartney, I could easily think it's someone else entirely singing the song because it's so different from everything else on the album. But it's just a nice break from the past few songs. It's so unique and interesting, and so I absolutely just love it. And the lyrics, I don't completely understand what the lyrics are about, but they kind of seem to be about society and how we treat other people and what we can do better. But anyways, this song, one of my favorites on the album for sure. Okay, next we have track 5, Lavatory Lil. This song is really interesting. It's based around this one electric guitar riff, and it's a really Beatles-esque song. It reminds me of songs made like even Glass Onion by the Beatles, because it's really like hard rock, a really hard rock song focused around guitars and stuff like that. But probably the most interesting thing about this song is its lyrics. It's really something you never expect to see in an album by Paul McCartney. Paul McCartney's basically singing about some woman who was only in it for the money, basically. If I were to put it simply, she doesn't really love you. She's only pretending, I guess, for your money. I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's a really just interesting song. The lyrics are all about her being like some just cruel, nasty woman. Anyways, maybe not the best song on the album, but definitely a very unique and interesting one. Okay, after that we have track 6, Deep Deep Feeling. I know this is a fan favorite off of this album. It's a very long song, over 8 minutes long, but honestly I have to say it is really an amazing song. It's a really dark and kind of depressing song at some points. It's all about the pain of loss, of losing someone you're close to, which is something universal. Paul McCartney himself has experienced it when he lost his first wife, Linda McCartney, and I'm sure it's just really a human emotion, and that's something this song talks about a lot, this deep, deep feeling of pain of losing someone. It just really expresses this emotion, in my opinion, perfectly. It focuses a lot on drums. When the song first begins, it's just Paul's voice and some drum beats, and then slowly more instruments are added to it until it becomes big, until it becomes a fully fleshed out song with guitars, piano, everything you could want, and background vocals, everything. So, yeah, honestly, it is really some of Paul McCartney's best work, and I think it really gets better just as you listen to it more times. So yeah, definitely a must listen off of this album, Deep Deep Feeling. It's 8 minutes long, but that doesn't even matter because it's just so good. Okay, next, track 7, Slidin'. I honestly don't have too much to say about this song. It's a great song. It's a rock song, really. Very like hard rock. Yeah, it's got some great musical elements, some great guitar work by Paul McCartney, a great guitar solo, which is pretty amazing too. Yeah, definitely just a great song. Alright, now we got track 8, The Kiss of Venus. This is, for the most part, it's an acoustic track. Really just acoustic guitar and Paul's voice for most of it. Some more instruments come in a little bit later throughout the song, but mainly just an acoustic track. I really enjoyed this track. The melodies were all just very nice. I enjoyed the simplicity of it. Kind of even similar to songs like Yesterday, with just Paul playing the acoustic guitar and singing. So yeah, just another great song. Okay, moving on to the 9th track of the album, Seize the Day. So this song, I believe, is really about Paul McCartney preaching about kindness and how we should treat other people. So it's all around just a really feel-good song. Another song I feel like that could be a Beatles song, with just the instruments used and the lyrics. Another great song on this great album. Okay, next we have the 10th track, second to last one, Deep Down. I really like this track, I'm gonna be honest. It may even be my favorite track off of the album. It's really unlike anything else on the entire album. It's really just a pop song, basically. I see no difference from this than pop music. It uses synthesizers for the most part. I'm not sure if it even uses guitars. I don't know, it might. Yeah, it is a pop song for sure, and Paul McCartney is no stranger to pop. If you listen to McCartney 2, you know that album is just full of pop music, and that was released in 1980. So Paul McCartney has been in the pop genre for a very long time. Yeah, it's also just kind of funny. I mean, the song is about basically just partying, and so to hear Paul McCartney sing about this, it's like he's still 20 years old and in the Beatles. It feels like he hasn't aged a bit with the songs he sings, and there's nothing wrong with that. Anyways, I really do enjoy this song a lot. Okay, and here we go. We've gone to the final song of the album, Winterbird / When Winter Comes. So the song begins with a reprise of that riff from the first song, Long-Tailed Winter Bird. So we get to hear that amazing riff once again before we get into the main part of the song, When Winter Comes. So it's really just a little acoustic song by Paul McCartney of him singing about winter and basically farm life. I've heard Paul McCartney either lives on a farm now or used to live on a farm. So I'm sure he's very familiar with farm life. He's talking about animals. He mentions winter is coming, so food will be scarce. I really like the one line he sings is, "We'll warn our toes to stay indoors." It's kind of funny. Yeah, and it's obviously very fitting. I mean, winter in real life in 2020 is here. It's long past here. It's been here for several weeks. It's December 19th when I record this. This whole album seems to be centered somewhat around the coming of winter. Or I mean, just the fact that winter's here. And that's what the song is all about. It's just a nice, peaceful melody to end the album. And I like it. Okay, I've now gone over every single song on this album. I'm now going to give my closing thoughts about McCartney 3. If you haven't been able to tell already, I really do like this album. Maybe even more than the original McCartney 1 and 2. But you can tell from what I've been saying that all these songs, there's a very big variety of songs. There's only 11 songs on the album, but most of them are very different from each other. It has a very big variety. You have that Deep Down song, which is like a pop song. You have Deep Deep Feeling, which is a very dark and melancholy song. You have Sliding, and Find My Way, which are very upbeat and happy songs. You even have Laboratory Lil, which is like a kind of mean song, but still, they all come together on this one album. So I just really do like it. I feel like this album might end up being a classic, just like McCartney 1 and 2 ended up being. And just really to see something come out in 2020 from this legendary artist is just really amazing to just be living in a time still where Paul McCartney is releasing new music. I mean, the album is kind of similar to some of the stuff Paul was doing back in the 70s and 80s. It's reminiscent of the Beatles and McCartney 1, which was released in 1970, 50 years ago. And just to think, it was all played by Paul McCartney, produced by him during this lockdown time period. It's really just incredible. So I am going to give this album 9 out of 10 Shreks for my rating. I know that's kind of a lot of credit to give to this album, but I believe it deserves it. Definitely tell me your thoughts about this album in the comment section below, and definitely tell me, do you want to see more videos of this with me reviewing albums? Because, I mean, there are many albums to review, not just by Paul McCartney, but just by many artists. Also, if you're new to this channel and you just came by to see this review, definitely consider subscribing. I have plenty of more content, both music related and gaming related if you're into that, on this channel. And also drop a like if you enjoyed the video, so I'll know you want to see more videos like this one. So anyways, that's all for me now. But I just have one last thing to say to you. Make sure to always stay Gucci.